This is Markin Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Follow on Twitter. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Marking Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Spreading like fisting. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. We're marking out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans.
Welcome to Markin Out, Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. This is episode 776. Thanks for listening. Make sure that you are subscribed and downloading wherever you are listening to the podcast, especially on Spotify. Make sure you buy a t-shirt over at prowrestlingtees.com/markinout. Give us a like on Facebook. Give us a follow on TikTok at Markinout, on Twitter at Markinout, and on Instagram at Markinout11. You can follow us and subscribe over on YouTube. And in addition to that, make sure that you follow me on all social media platforms, David PT DPT. You can follow Chris at CMSweeney85 on Instagram and Chris Sweendog on Twitter. And Brandon at BTTG161. Brandon, how are you?
I am doing awesome as always. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Happy Hanukkah.
Yes, happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate.
Yes. How was your week?
It was good. It snowed this week, obviously. You're aware of that.
I did not realize that. Okay.
It was nice to see the snow and everything, but shoveling it sucked. So, but now it's all
never fun.
It's not. I don't want to say it's all gone, but it's almost all gone.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, outside of that, it was just pro wrestling. How about yourself?
Pro wrestling. It was pro wrestling. I mean, Saturday night. There was no better thing that you should be doing as a pro wrestling fan than being in front of your television watching Saturday night's main event.
Yeah, and throughout the night, we saw different superstars there for John Cena. You had Shawn Michaels, Mark Henry, Kurt Angle, Trish Stratus, Jesse Ventura was back. Not specifically there for John Cena. You had Sami Zayn, R-Truth, Stephanie McMahon, Booker T, Rob Van Dam, The Miz, CM Punk, Eve Torres, which I thought was really funny that she was there.
They should have had Broski.
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know who was contacted or what. Michelle McCool was there. Haku was there. Elias was there. I think John Cena said he snuck in that row.
I didn't understand why Haku.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess he was just there because it's the bloodline, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like Haku just was like backstage with like the bloodline and stuff like that, and they were like, "Hey, yeah, come on out to the front row."
You had celebrities, musicians, John Bernthal. Maybe he showed up with Kurt Angle. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. Metro Boomin, Tyrese Halliburton. He was all over the meme video reactions. Chuck Zito was there. No Jimmy King, no Goldberg.
And nobody still knows who Chuck Zito really is.
Chuck Zito. I mean, he was with Goldberg for Goldberg's retirement.
And that's about it.
I completely understand no Jimmy King, Oliver Platt. Goldberg, I feel like, should have been there.
Why? Just because of the Gunther stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
think that
he's
more
too much
so than
he's too much
I think
drama.
Goldberg with Gunther is a major thing. And there's a sprinkle of Ready to Rumble. John Cena's first wrestling scene ever, I think, might have been in a gym with Goldberg in the background. So,
I don't know.
Him in the background of a scene, I should say.
Yeah, I would have left it.
You had Lillian Garcia perform the Star Spangled Banner. She did the announcing for the show. That's been the norm, I believe, for Saturday night's main event. And it kicked off with Cody Rhodes, not John Cena like the news site said so.
Yeah,
I mean, but we heard it. We heard it. He said it himself. He's going home early.
Wait, no, what?
That's what they were saying. John Cena wants to go home early. He's going to go on first.
He confirmed on Pat McAfee that he wasn't opening the show.
Yeah, he confirmed on Pat McAfee because those
Smarks,
internet
idiots.
reporters
jerks.
Even they took
Keyboard
a
warriors.
sound bite from Jimmy Kimmel Live. I don't think anybody fed them that information. I think they took the information that they saw somebody take and reword and misconstrue from Jimmy Kimmel. And then that went viral. For some reason, that little clip from Jimmy Kimmel went viral, and everyone's like, oh, John Cena's opening the show. He's opening the show. The rest of that clip said, no, I'm probably closing it. Card subject to change. They told us. But Cody Rhodes picked up the victory over Obafemi via disqualification that left everybody pissed off, which I understand. But at the same time, I'm fine with this ending. I think Obafemi was over big time here.
Yeah,
big time.
I agree with you. I think that anybody that thought that this was going to go any different way was completely inaccurate for feeling that way. I mean, when you think about it, Drew McIntyre was going to play a factor into this. And for a DQ finish, what was the other options? Have Cody Rhodes pick up the victory over Oba, which isn't going to help Oba. Or Oba pick up the victory over Cody, which isn't going to do any good at the current time. The best thing to do is to have Drew McIntyre do the interference. And Oba, what a reaction from the crowd.
His entrance is starting to go viral on TikTok, by the way. The walk that I dislike, a lot of people are starting to do it.
I love the walk.
But I liked the match. I liked Obafemi choking Cody Rhodes and then hitting the Irish Curse when Cody dropped down for that uppercut that he does.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Obafemi blocking the scoop power slam, which Cody did eventually hit. But Oba hit that huge uppercut to Cody Rhodes. All the way across the table, Cody flew. Ripped his ear open.
That was sick.
That I don't see which part he ripped his ear open, but that was crazy.
Yeah, that was honestly, I feel like the blood in there kind of added to the match a little bit too.
And that's when Drew McIntyre showed up, and he attacked Cody Rhodes, and Obafemi ripped Drew McIntyre off Cody Rhodes and then pushed Drew McIntyre down.
Mm-hmm.
And he got up. Cody hit him with the Cody Cutter. Oba hit a choke slam. I think that was a perfect, not a passing of the torch moment, but like a sharing of the moment sharing of the ring sort of moment. Like, you are the future. You're helping me take down the present.
Yeah, this was done perfectly, and it doesn't make Drew McIntyre look bad at all. This fit perfectly. Next up, you had Sol Ruca pick up the victory over Bayley. Something I loved the most about this was Sol Ruca doing her entrance with Zarya. I loved seeing them. They took like maybe 5 seconds at the top of the stage when they first walk out. They took like 3 to 5 seconds just standing there and kind of just looking around and getting kind of giddy about it, like perking a smile and having all of those fans and that kind of like rush over you. And as a fan, seeing them get that kind of a moment, it was really cool to see them being able to take that time there. But this was an awesome match with her and Bayley.
The color scheme of Bayley's gear was based on John Cena's debut SmackDown gear.
I didn't realize that.
And I thought that was awesome. This match was fun. I liked Sol getting her feet on the rope after Bayley hit the rose plant. She blocked the elbow. She pinned Bayley. Bayley kicked out. She kicked Sol Ruca into the corner. And Sol ends up, from that moment, basically hitting the Soul Snatcher and getting the victory. Or not getting the victory. Bayley rolled out after that. I forgot.
Yeah, she tried to roll out.
And then they traded. Yeah, and then they traded pins. And that's when Sol Ruca won.
Yeah, she tried to go out. They had that one spot that it was kind of like a sloppy-ish. But I think that both of them recovered it very well, and I feel like it didn't take anything from the matchup itself. I really like this match.
After that, we saw AJ Lee.
I was just going to say at the end of the match, it was nice to see all four of them in the ring do the John Cena salute too.
Yeah, we saw AJ Lee pick up the victory over Javon Evans and Leon Slater. Leon Slater and Javon Evans starting this match off on fire, going straight to AJ Lee with super kicks. Very, very fast-paced match. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this was the shortest match. I think. Which, of course, TNA gets this and blah, 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 blah. It's ridiculous. But Dragon Lee...
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Lee did that over-the-top rope Hurricane Rana off the apron into the Styles Clash position, but Javon Evans made the save off of that. I thought that was dope. He also hit the OG cutter on AJ, and Slater hit that Swanton 450. Dragon Lee ends up drop kicking Javon Evans onto the pin to break it up, and that's a creative way to break up the pin. If you want every member of that match involved.
Yeah, once that happened, I was just like, you're definitely happy about that.
Yeah, just give me creativity.
Yeah.
The biggest mystery of this match?
Huh?
What?
No, I was going to say that this match was exciting. I love, even from the very start, the first 2 minutes, it had such a spotlight on Javon Evans and Leon Slater with, if you did not know these wrestlers, the only reason you don't watch NXT, the only reason that you tune into tonight was for John Cena, and you see the first 2 minutes of Javon Evans and Leon Slater, you're like, wow, I am a fan. I want to watch more of these. So to anybody about the TNA comment about them misusing TNA and stuff, screw you. This was excellent. Excellent.
The biggest unknown of this match was AJ Styles slipping off of the top rope when he did the forearm or went for the forearm. Leon Slater right away went to cover AJ Styles. So if that was, in fact, an actual slip-up on AJ, great on Javon, great on Leon Slater if that was his call.
Mm-hmm.
But then Leon Slater went for a dive, and AJ caught him with the Styles Clash, got the victory. And then, of course, all four of them did John Cena stuff after the match as well.
Yeah, this was just a nice, clean match, and I guess that's the nice thing with it. Nobody knows if AJ Styles actually intended to slip or not during that spot.
Because it does look like it could have been an intentional slip also.
It could have, but like you said, good on, I think, it was Leon Slater, right? Leon Slater. Yeah. Good on him for recognizing, real fast, go for the pin. And just a lot of fun. But
in between matches, we had Stephanie McMahon and Jesse Ventura at different points. And at one point, Stephanie McMahon is trying to hype up the main event and ask the crowd if they're ready. And then The Miz interrupted by saying he's awesome, doing his entrance basically, wearing his gear, his jacket from WrestleMania 27, the main event of WrestleMania 27. And then R-Truth showed up and said, we know what you did. I know what you did. You played with Nick Aldis's balls or whatever he said.
Huge pop.
And I'm so glad that they went back to this because we had a snippet of that on SmackDown the other week, but there was never any resolution where oh, well, if he knows Miz switched the name, whose name was it?
Yeah.
And now we find out R-Truth holding the ball in his hand, hands it to The Miz. The Miz opens. He goes, Joe Hendry. And then Joe Hendry appeared. They throw down a little bit. WWE.com's reporting that Joe Hendry and R-Truth attacked The Miz. The Miz swung first of all. And they get the upper hand, obviously. They do the 5-knuckle shuffle. I thought this was awesome. R-Truth counted 3 after the standing ovation. I think it was the standing ovation. It was a nice way to get Joe Hendry on that Saturday night's main event, as well as Miz and R-Truth too.
Yeah, this was just
especially the history
excellent.
between the history between the three of them. So I appreciated that segment.
Much fun. So much fun, and I'm glad that the Miz got his spot on the card too. But let's see. Earlier in the night, Michael Cole gave shout-outs to Taz. He gave shout-outs to JBL, Corey Graves, Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, all for calling matches with him, John Cena matches. I don't know why he didn't mention Pat McAfee. I thought that was weird. But I really thought it was cool that he gave everybody shout-outs like that. Mm-hmm.
And then we get to the main event, the thing that everybody showed up to Washington, D.C. to see. One last time. Gunther picks up the victory over John Cena.
Wow.
Is it wow, though?
Yeah.
Did we both pick Gunther?
I'm sorry?
Didn't we both pick Gunther to win?
Yeah, we did, but the fact that it actually happened, I don't know why. I guess let's start with the match, then we'll go into the stupid fans.
Something I thought was very interesting, when John Cena hit the first 5-knuckle shuffle, I think for the very first time, instead of saying "you can't see me" to Gunther, he did it to the camera. I thought that was interesting. And then we saw Gunther reverse the attitude adjustment attempt that followed that 5-knuckle shuffle. Cena got out of the sleeper. He locked in the STFU. Gunther got out of that. He knocked John Cena down with a few clotheslines. I liked how the fans were chanting for Super Cena. That's something that you don't normally hear.
No, not
but
at all.
the fans wanted it. And then from that chant, he was doing the 5-knuckle shuffle setup again. He hit the 5-knuckle shuffle. He hit the attitude adjustment. Gunther kicked out. And he went for another one. Gunther got out of it, chopped John Cena's back. I really liked the chop to John Cena's back before he locked in that sleeper. John Cena got up. He locked Gunther in a sleeper, which Gunther got to the ropes. He put the ring steps at one point near the commentary table to powerbomb John Cena off the steps. Cena got him up, hit an attitude adjustment through the table. He gets him back in the ring. Crazy. He does that top rope leg drop, which Gunther kicked out of. I don't know the last time we saw Cena do the top rope leg drop.
It's been years since we've seen him do it.
I don't know if it's been years. I feel like we definitely saw him do it this tour, but I'm not 100% sure.
No. I am 85% positive we did not see that during this tour at all.
I'm not sure. We didn't see the lightning fist, I'll tell you that. I have to say that's disappointing. That's truly disappointing.
Kind of happy we didn't.
I feel like that would have been the best moment to have in Logan Paul's match. I don't know how they didn't do that, but John Cena went for another 5-knuckle shuffle, which Gunther got up and kicked him down. He hit a powerbomb. He went for a splash, and John Cena hits an attitude adjustment from the middle rope. Michael Cole, maybe in the first time in years, called it an FU. They traded punches. John Cena went for another attitude adjustment. Gunther reversed that, hits a powerbomb. Or no, Gunther... Yeah, he did. He hit a powerbomb. And then he hit the splash, which John Cena kicked out of. Locked in the sleeper again. John Cena's fighting him off. But what does Gunther do? Locks it back in. John Cena tries to roll out. Gunther kept it locked in. Cena did get out of the sleeper, and he went for an attitude adjustment, but what did Gunther do? Locked it in again. And he got up. Gunther kept the sleeper on. He jumped on his back. Really locks in that sleeper. Cena backs him into a corner. And what did Gunther do? Locked it in again. Cena he fights out. Finally hits another attitude adjustment. You think that's it? 1, 2, 3. Gunther kicks out. And what does Gunther do? He locks in the sleeper again.
And I gotta say, I really like that he still had that pump up moment with the fans where you're like, oh my goodness, he's going to get out. He's going to get out. He's going to get out. Nope.
Yeah. The crowd chanted, "Don't give up." And the referee checks Cena's arm. Cena does the Cena taunt to get out. That was a huge moment of the match. Bayley marked the hell out for that. And then what did Gunther do? Gunther elbows the absolute hell out of John Cena like we've seen Gunther do in the past. He locks in that sleeper again. And John Cena, he just simply smiles and taps out.
That smile. I mean, he gave a little smile and then tapped out.
John Cena, by the way, on Cody Rhodes' podcast, confirmed that it was an Obi-Wan situation. I think Obi-Wan. The thing that Bully Ray posted.
Yeah, he tweeted it too, John
It's
Cena.
literally
Instagram post.
It's literally Cinema 101. Why would
Yeah.
he smile? That smile makes no sense. Have you watched movies ever?
Yeah, I don't know why. Okay, so let's rank. All right, so the match itself.
Gladiator.
Great,
What other
great
movies?
matchup. But hold on, great matchup. Now let's actually talk about that aspect. Like you mentioned, Gladiator,
It's poetic.
Braveheart.
Yeah, Braveheart
You know?
too. The Magnificent Seven.
Yeah,
It's like it's
how,
literally Cinema 101. And when cinema gets, people throw that word around, and when cinema gets added, they have absolutely no idea what cinema is.
And please tell me, what benefit was it going to be if you had John Cena? Okay, well, John Cena, he tapped out, and John Cena's thing is never give up. What happens if he loses but he passes out? Okay, so he passes out. What good does that do now?
Because
he
then
never
that
gave
sets up him coming back. He didn't do it on his own.
The big
John
thing,
Cena actually tapping out is not him giving up. It's him letting go. Hence
and
the
big thing-
smile.
and what
Cinema
did he say?
101.
What did Gunther say in his promo? He's going to make him tap. Boom.
I thought it
You
was
don't
fantastic.
You don't need anything else. There's
John Cena's retirement tour was an F.
but right there, John Cena said he was going. I mean, Gunther said he was going to make him tap out. And what did he do? He made him tap out.
Which, by the way, I
why is that so
misspoke.
difficult?
I misspoke the other week. It was not 4 people who have made John Cena tap out. It was only 3. Rusev made
was it?
John Cena pass out.
Yeah, Jericho, Benoit,
Angle.
Rusev
had him in the accolade, and Cena passed out. He didn't tap.
Yeah.
So 4 people have made John Cena tap out. And then after
And
the
the
match,
first-
you had...
First one
What?
being Jericho.
Yeah, you had Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, CM Punk, Stephanie McMahon, Bruce. They all came out. The fans were pissed. They were booing heavily.
They were letting it rain upon them.
Cody Rhodes and CM Punk gave John Cena their titles.
Yeah, and this entire time, John Cena's like trying to calm down the crowd, it seemed, at moments.
The rest of the roster came out. They played a video for John Cena. That was it. He took his final bow. Cody stayed ringside. He took his shoes off. He took his sweatbands, wristbands, which were SummerSlam wristbands and sweatbands, interestingly enough. And Cody Rhodes stayed ringside, took it all in. It's on him now.
This
He's
was
the
just
next
wonderful.
John Cena. Yeah, I thought that was a why didn't Triple H didn't let John Cena do a speech?
Why did he did his speech the past few months? What else did you want him to say on the mic?
He literally took his final bow.
Yeah, what else?
You
did
go to a
want him-
Broadway show, they don't give speeches all
exactly.
the time.
And I'm also going to add that, to be honest with you, I don't know if he would have been capable of doing a speech. I think that he was really was close to choking up. And I don't think that he would want to cry. I cannot see John Cena, like Cody Rhodes. He's been crying on the mic since he came back to WWE at times, and getting choked up. But John Cena, I cannot see John Cena actually allowing himself to choke up and show that sort of emotion in front of a live audience. I feel like John Cena is a very private individual. So even if they told John Cena, hey, you have 10 minutes or whatever, talk. I don't think that John Cena would have done it, because you saw how quick John Cena, he didn't even stay out there. He didn't go slapping hands of all the fans around the ring going full circle, which would have been nice. He didn't. He just got out of the ring and he left. And also, let's also mention his interactions with Stu at his entrance and everything.
Yeah.
It was. I thought it was really special.
I would have sworn I could swear WWE has always spelled it STU.
I think we all just got worked. They did.
And
I think we all just got worked because
STEW, and his last name is Stewart.
Yeah, that's his last name. It's Stewart. Everybody got worked.
So
that's hilarious.
That's John Cena's retirement. I don't think it's a failure at all. He set out to do what he did. He had fans come from city to city, state to state, country to country, continent to continent. The crowd was always excited to see him. He got to meet fans at shows. He got to meet fans at convention centers for cons, such as Fanatics Fest. I don't think that's a failure.
No, this was special. This was incredible. This was the only disputes that I will accept is his heel turn aspect.
The heel turn itself was fantastic. There was just not enough time to execute the whole.
Yeah, the execution, and that seems like the execution would go on to the other two people in the group.
Well,
which really sucks because it would have been interesting to see what happens. But like he said, like on his interview with CVV, there's no point for him to even talk about it because it didn't happen.
We deserved a "You Can't See Me, Last Time Is Now" edition. We're not getting it. We deserved a lightning fist. We're not getting it. We deserved a Juan Cena appearance. We're not getting it.
And I think that out of anybody, when he says he's never wrestling again, I actually do believe he is never actually wrestling again.
100%.
But like we mentioned, he did sign a ambassador contract, which, I mean, we're going to see John Cena again. We're going to see John Cena in front of a live audience. Guess what, everybody? He's going to do his speech. When? Hall of Fame. Like, he'll do his speech then, everybody. Now he's going to do his tours. He did Cody Rhodes. I didn't listen to it. Did you hear anything from Cody?
Yeah, I already said that. I just saw clips and little bits.
Oh, you just saw clips? From what you heard, was it just a direct replica of CVV?
No,
and the others? Or not?
Everything that I said, I already said. Everything that I heard, I already said.
No? All right, so
moving over
I would assume
to
that
Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw opened with Gunther coming out to a sea of boos. By the way, we didn't mention Gunther being chased and heckled to his bus after Saturday night's main event.
That's perfect.
But it shouldn't have been Gunther. So, Monday Night Raw.
And also, what other person could it have been?
It should have been Edge.
Should have been Kurt Angle. In that entire tournament, who else could have been the person?
It shouldn't have been a tournament. It should have been Edge. It needed to be Edge.
Nobody. There's nobody. The only person in the tournament that would have fit was Solo.
He came out to a sea of boos, maybe like 6 minutes or so, and he said that I said what I said I was going to do, or I did what I said I was going to do.
Yep.
He said John Cena tapped out, and then he went to leave. He had more boos, and he came back to pose to a bunch of boos. He left and came back, and he said that he'll forever be the person who made John Cena tap out. And it was maybe like 10 minutes or so of just boos and heckles. And when he got to the back, he saw Alpha Academy. Otis said that he bets Gunther feels pretty good rubbing it in people's faces. I don't know if Otis is necessarily the right person to have been there for that, but I don't know if that'll eventually lead to Otis facing Gunther or something. You had R-Truth there. Truth made more sense, calling Gunther a piece of trash. And then Adam Pearce yelled at Gunther for doing what he did. And then he made Gunther leave. And on Gunther's way out, AJ Styles was there. He didn't say anything to him. And before Gunther drove off, he lowered his window and he did the "You Can't See Me" taunt.
It was perfect.
Is AJ next?
I know. I mean, start the rumors and the talk. I mean, is he going to be the one to retire AJ Styles? It's, you know what? We can't rule it out anymore.
Seems plausible.
Yeah. Next up, you had the Usos pick up a victory over New Day. The Usos coming out to Jey Uso's theme song.
Yeah.
But that did change.
And I liked commentary. Wade Barrett was like, you could probably have one member of the Usos team with the other member of the Usos and vice versa, and they'd work well together as a team due to how many times that they've actually wrestled one another and how well they know one another's movesets. Mm-hmm. And I think that would be a cool concept. We have seen that in the past, and it very much so works. Like when we saw the Hardy Boys and Edge and Christian have to team with one another. Mm-hmm. But Grayson Waller, as far as the match goes, helped out behind the referee's back. Xavier Woods kicked out of a double Uso splash. I think that was very interesting. New Day hit Daylight, and Jey Uso broke it up. Kofi Kingston ends up rocking him with Trouble in Paradise. He missed one on Jimmy. Jimmy hit a spear. Jimmy sets up the 1D. They hit the 1D. They get the victory. And then, after months and months, their theme song played. You can't yeet to the Usos theme song. It's the same freaking song, man. I was very, very, very pleasantly surprised. I don't think enough people are talking about that theme song being used.
And that's funny because I saw that was a ton of tweets that I saw was about it.
No,
being
there
used,
were a good amount of tweets. There were not enough tweets. Mm-hmm. It was months. They've not specifically been together as a team, but we saw them months ago team up again. And they every time since then, it was always just Jey Uso's theme song.
Yeah.
After that, we had Rio come out, and they were about to go make their way to the ring. Asuka was in the crowd. She spit mist in Rhea's eyes out of nowhere. Kairi took down Io, and then they both took Rio out together. Io crawled onto Rhea Ripley to sort of protect her and block the insane elbow, so she ends up eating it on her back. It sets up Rhea Ripley versus Asuka for next week on Monday Night Raw. I thought this was a good segment.
I agree. This was a great segment. And I love the fact that the Asuka stuff, I didn't expect that at all. That came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was perfect. Next up, you had Maxine Dupree pick up the victory over Ivy Nile to defend her championship in her first defense for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. This matchup, I think, just fully secures Maxine Dupree and her improvements and shows haters that, you know what? She does actually deserve to be a champion, and she's going to have no problem with this title run.
Yeah, there were a lot of good spots in this. I liked when Maxine had the armbar locked in on the rope, and commentary mentioned Chad Gable and everything, but Ivy Nile was able to pick Maxine up and slam her onto the apron to get out of that.
Yeah, that was a nice spot.
The Majorana reversal out of the Dragon Sleeper from Maxine was nice. People, for whatever reason, thought it was a pile driver.
Yeah, I did. When I first watched it, I thought that it was that she did spike her on the head. I mean,
a lot of
people
thought it was a pile driver. A lot of people, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, I did. I knew that she rolled through, but I thought that she intentionally spiked her on the head. Every
luchador ever does that move.
Yeah, I really thought that my favorite spot was that Dragon Sleeper in the turnbuckle.
Yeah,
I thought that was just really cool.
The Tree of Woe Dragon Sleeper from Ivy Nile was nice. I like it was like the Widow's Peak is already sort of a sit down move, but Maxine did it like a sit down version, like an actual sit down.
Yeah, that was actually
sit down, I guess.
How I told you that there was a few innovative things that I don't know.
But I don't think that's innovative. I just think she's just a modified Widow's Peak.
Well, that's the thing. Well, innovative because I don't remember anybody doing a Widow's Peak in that sort of a variation.
I will say it reminded me of the way Chelsea Green hits the Pretty Her. And
okay, I could see that.
I just remembered that the John Cena smile. It reminded me that a lot of people complained about the same spot, or not the same spot, but a lot of people complained about. It reminded me of Bubba Ray or Bully Ray letting go in his match with the Hardys, the tables match.
Huh.
Where he gave everything he got. He gave everything he was giving, and then he just at that one point he was like, that's it.
That's very true. I didn't even think about that. That's a very
That's what it
good
really
comparison.
reminded me of. I'm not seeing anybody really say that either. So
Yeah, that's a
But
very
this
good
match-
comparison.
But this match, Maxine tried for an ankle lock earlier. Ivy ends up getting to the rope. Ends up later on in the match getting it locked in. And Maxine had to keep locking it in because Ivy kept reversing it. Kind of reminiscent of John Cena and Gunther. And eventually, Maxine cranks the ankle and Ivy Nile had to tap out.
I really like the way that she got back into that ankle lock too. Where she did like a cartwheel into it. That was so cool.
It
And
was
I
a
think that
well-done
we may
match.
have seen her practicing it in some of the videos that were out there, but it was very cool.
Earlier in the night, we saw the Vision backstage, and they wanted to take CM Punk out on Monday Night Raw. Paul Heyman said no. Wait for January 5th. Wait for Barclays Center. Become champion. Adam Pearce also tried to get it out of Paul Heyman as to who the masked man is, and he's like, I want to know by the end of the night. We had a promo from CM Punk, and CM Punk said that he missed multiple Monday Night Raws because they wouldn't clear him. It was painful, but it wasn't as painful as listening to Bron Breakker talk, and he kept going. He said Bron Breakker did pin him, but he didn't do it alone. He mentioned the stuff that Bron Breakker said about AJ Lee. And obviously the stuff with Bron Breakker not doing it alone, alluding to the Vision and the Masked Man. CM Punk told Bron Breakker to bring the Steiners, because he's going to need all the help he can to beat him at Barclays Center on Monday Night Raw, January 5th. Put a pin in that.
That's going to be cool.
The next match, we saw Stephanie Vaquer pick up the victory over Raquel Rodriguez via disqualification to retain the championship. Raquel controlled a good amount of this match.
And what about that noggin? That golf ball on her forehead.
I didn't see it.
Whoa.
I didn't notice any.
Oh yeah, she cut a promo after. I don't know. She cut a promo after, and Raquel Rodriguez's forehead, it just, she got a big lump on there. I think it was from the spot where she went into the steel steps. It looks nasty.
The thing I think that I liked the most from this match was Raquel teasing that lawn dart into the ring post.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what we saw the other week. But Nikki Bella showed up. She took Stephanie Vaquer out. She took Raquel Rodriguez out. And she said that both of them should be shining her boots. So, is it a triple threat next or what?
Yeah, it could end up being a triple threat. I think that's something that we're taking away is that after Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile, and then Vaquer versus Rodriguez, I think that this women's division is thriving. Absolutely thriving. Next up, you see the image I sent you?
No, because I'm recording a show.
Oh, yeah, I sent you the picture of Raquel Rodriguez. You can
now.
see that lump on her
Yeah.
head. Bad. Main event of the evening, you had Logan Paul pick up the victory over Rey Mysterio. What a victory for Logan Paul over Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, and before the match, CM Punk offered to have Rey's back, but he wasn't ringside for it. I don't know why. That part didn't make sense to me.
Why have somebody's back and just like not show up to have their back?
I mean, I get it for the pop and whatnot, but it just, that part didn't make sense. The match itself was actually surprisingly pretty even. I liked Logan Paul reverse the 619, and a bit after that, Rey Mysterio hit that sunset flip powerbomb off the top rope. He did that splash to the outside, and then that's when the Vision showed up. That's when CM Punk showed up with a chair, took both of them out. Logan Paul, Paul Heyman ends up slipping him the brass knucks, only to have Rey Mysterio trip him, hit the 619. The brass knucks ends up falling off of his hand, and Rey Mysterio toys with the idea and then puts the brass knuckles on his hand. Masked Man shows up, stomps Rey Mysterio on the apron. Logan Paul hits that frog splash, gets the victory.
Yeah.
The Masked Man gets up on the apron. CM Punk runs back down. The Masked Man runs off. Paul Heyman and Logan Paul get out of the ring. They don't run off like the Masked Man did. And then the unmasking was Austin Theory.
Okay, so we find out the unmasking. I am very let down by it. And I think that the entire, it kind of sucks because the entire live crowd, there was no reaction to it really, or at least a reduced reaction. Potentially because there was all the rumors that it was him to begin with. And once he did it, it was more of, for me, I was like, okay, of course, it makes sense. I get it, that it's him. We knew it was going to be him. That's why
we discussed it last week that we really do hope that it's not Austin Theory, but no offense to Austin Theory, I think we're both fans of his.
No, I agree. I mean, no offense with the Austin Theory. I mean, I think he's going to thrive in the role, but I feel
we need to know the explanation. Right now at this moment, I know there was a vlog with Logan Paul. That's not canon to me. We don't know if they're working together.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to wait to see how that story unfolds. Braun Breaker showed up from behind and speared the heck out of CM Punk.
Took him out.
Kind of overshadows the unmasking portion of it, but I believe that might be the second time in Austin Theory's WWE career that he's unmasked himself to reveal that.
Yeah, he unmasked himself with Gargano, where he was wearing the scream mask.
Ghostface.
Yeah. So that was the second time.
That's Monday Night Raw. Moving over to NXT, opening with a surprise.
Ooh.
Thea Hale picked up the victory over Blake Monroe to become the new Women's North American Champion. Although Thea, she was in control for a majority of this match. And she worked on Blake's arm. The ending was where the confusion was. Thea Hale hit that springboard senton, pinned Blake Monroe, and referee counted 3. Blake then gets her arm up. I think you could hear Blake say, "Get off of me," or something like that. During the pin. Hear that. I think so. I don't know if Blake was knocked out. She had the wind knocked out of her or what, but I'm pretty sure you could hear her say, "Get off of me."
Yeah.
People think Thea Hale went into business for herself. I don't think that's the case.
Wait, people are saying that?
Of course they're saying that.
Why? Okay, I'm so sorry, but y'all are stupid.
Of course they're saying that.
She went into business for herself. Why? This isn't Hulk Hogan. This isn't this is Thea Hale. Somebody who actually loves the spot that she's in. She loves NXT. She loves WWE, or at least for what we know of. She's going to go into business for herself. She's not in a position to go to business for herself. Get out of here with that crap.
And then, and of course, WWE, whatever, confirms it to all the news sites that wasn't supposed to happen. They did a segment later on. Jordan Grace congratulated Thea Hale, and she reiterated what she told Jordan Grace from last week. That seems like it could have just been part of the storyline. It all fit in and makes sense there. And then Blake Monroe showed up, obviously distraught, telling her to give her title back. She got her shoulder up. She wants a rematch. Everything that they did, to me, it doesn't, when we're watching the match, it looks like, oh, well, that's not supposed to happen. That backstage segment, I think, makes it look like everything was supposed to happen. So whether or not it was or wasn't, they did a good job at covering it.
And then let's also face it, that this, like you said, it makes it look like it was supposed to happen. This was pretty much what has been happening with Thea Hale too. She made her tap out last week. But the match didn't actually start. They've been having stuff like this taking place, so it's not too far-fetched. And now you have Blake Monroe blaming the referee. You can easily take it into the direction that maybe it was actually supposed to be that way. But now the unfortunate thing is that they go into tapings for the rest of the year. So we'll see what happens with that. I do feel bad for Thea Hale, and I feel bad for Blake Monroe and the referee. You know, if it was not legit, if it was not supposed to happen that way, I feel bad for everybody involved with that. I mean, they played Blake Monroe's theme song at the very end instead of Thea Hale. Like, do you really think that Thea Hale...
It's got to be really awful, especially having the AEW Galaxy piling it on. Look at Blake Monroe. She's in the dirt. LOL. She was on top of the world in AEW. Now she's on the lowest of lows. Lost her title by mistake.
Yeah, how is that the lowest of lows? It's not the first time that that's happened. And also, I'm sorry, AEW fans, it's happened in AEW as well. You know, but I do feel bad for Thea Hale because if you think that her very first singles championship her very first, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I think it's her very first women's championship ever that she was going to want to win it by going into business for herself or by a botch.
I think it's so funny. And there's so many videos afterwards, literally so many videos saying that.
And then I feel bad for Blake Monroe because, she potentially had the wind just blasted out of her. And she has to feel like crap that she tried to kick out. You see her try to get that arm up, and the referee just did the job as they should have. And also that goes to how many times do we say on this show, well, I guess not too much on this show, but in general, where a referee doesn't call that pinfall and stops at the very last moment, even though the person's flat, they stop.
That's what they should have done. The referee should have stopped. He knew it shouldn't have happened.
Exactly. So that's the thing. So anybody who wants to argue different, you're a hypocrite. You're an absolute hypocrite. Either you want the referee to call what they see, or you want them to just go by what the outcome is. Get a life. That's what I say.
After that, Ethan Page came out to call out Tony D'Angelo. But it was Stax and Ariana Grace who showed up, and Stax said that the AAA mixed tag titles would look good around their waists. And then, surprise, Moose showed up, and he addressed Stax having the TNA International Championship, and it made it seem like he was coming after Ethan Page for that. He goes, someone else is going to have to deal with you for that. I'm laser focused on the North American Championship. And Ethan Page is like, what the hell? I thought that was really funny. Not actually what the hell, good. But the face that he made. And then Moose said Santino and Ava already signed off on it. Ethan Page is defending the title on the final show of the year. And also because Sol Ruca pinned Bayley, she's getting a U.S. title shot next week against Chelsea Green. So I think that's interesting.
Yeah, and let's just say their shirt is incredible, that new shirt.
Yes,
the Edge
their positively awesome t-shirt.
Yeah.
After that, we saw Hank and Tank pick up the victory over OTM. I was surprised by that.
Okay,
I was very surprised. Hank and Tank controlled a lot of this match. When OTM hit that Super Collider, I thought that was about to be the end of the match.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. The match kept going.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised because Hank and Tank, I mean, they have a lot more momentum.
Granted, they just
OTM
got back from Japan.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe they should be winning, but also OTM, they need wins. What the hell are they doing?
I do agree with you with that. I want to see a lot more of OTM, but to go against Hank and Tank after returning from Japan, you can't have them lose. But this was a really good matchup, a good tag team matchup.
There was a spot similar to the pin where everyone's involved. I think it was Lucian Price chokeslammed Hank onto Tank to break it up, so I appreciate that. It wasn't just like, everybody tumble, everybody. So I like that aspect. I think it was a creative way to break a submission up instead of doing that overdone tackle.
Mm-hmm.
OTM tried to put Tank through the commentary table, but he ends up fighting back. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like a lot went into that ending. Like a lot. There was a lot of stuff that went down. But in the end, Hank and Tank got the victory. So
solid match.
After that, Ricky Saints came out, basically said he's not apologizing to anyone for what he did. He said the fans didn't care that Javon jumped in front of him in line before he got his rematch, and he had to check Javon for that. He told Javon he tried to give him advice, be like, just wait your turn. He didn't listen. Javon showed up, ends up attacking Ricky Saints, but Ricky's security separated it, and Ricky got the upper hand there. Hit a Rochambeau through the table. So.
Yeah. Well, next up you had Ren QCC pick up the victory over Fatal Influence. This was a fun matchup and a great showing from each and every one of them.
JC, by the way, was on commentary. Still was able to cause distractions to Ren for Fatal Influence to take over.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray were able to work very well together as a team. JC, again, gets involved, and Fallon tried to take advantage of that, but Kendall locked in that armbar, she didn't have enough, what would you say, torque or whatever, ends up kicking Fallon's head with her leg while locking the armbar in, and gets the victory off of that. Well done ending to that match. Also, it was very nice to see Ren Sinclair in a match like this again.
I agree. I totally agree with you, and I think that this was a solid match, and I'm really happy that Ren QCC picked the victory over Fatal Influence. I wouldn't have been surprised if Fatal Influence actually picked up the victory in that one.
I was fully expecting for them to.
Yeah. Main event of the evening, Leon Slater picked up the victory over Miles Bourne, Dion Lennox, and Joe Hendry to become the number one contender for the championship.
Does he even work at TNA anymore? This is contract tampering.
Not when you have an agreement. This was great. This was a great showing for each and every wrestler in here. To
me, it was like a slow start, though. Like, I was starting to think, like, nothing's really standing out in this match. And then Miles Bourne caught Leon Slater in a powerbomb position. Dion Lennox hit that, like, heart attack from the middle rope. And I was like, oh, this is starting to pick up now. Slater's knee from, his knee had been, he did a dive to the outside and he, like, tweaked his knee a little bit. So that was being worked on throughout the match. Dion Lennox went to power slam him from the middle rope, and we got a Tower of Doom spot instead where Leon Slater ends up powerbombing Joe Hendry and Miles Bourne, which triggered a suplex to Dion Lennox. And then Leon Slater ends up hitting that swanton like halfway across the ring to Dion Lennox. And I was like, oh, that's probably like the end of the match where the end of the match is coming up shortly where anybody but Leon Slater is going to get the victory.
Mm-hmm.
Lennox ends up fighting Joe Hendry to the back. Slater goes on, hits that Swanton 450, and gets the victory. And I was very surprised by that.
Yeah, I was not expecting that at all.
Not at all was I expecting Leon Slater to get that victory. And then Obafemi came out to stare him down, so...
Yeah, once they started brawling to the back, I started to wonder where this is going, and
I thought for sure Miles Bourne had the match won. What do you mean? I thought for sure that was the ending.
Yeah. But
so that is NXT. Moving over to SmackDown. It opened up with Damian Priest speaking about John Cena Saturday night's main event, and then he spoke about Aleister Black and Zelina Vega. To which Zelina Vega interrupted, and she brought up how Damian Priest didn't even get the pin in their match against the Terror Twins last week. She also said that Aleister Black broke Damian Priest. And then Aleister Black showed up from behind. They brawled. Damian Priest chokeslammed Aleister Black onto the apron, grabbed a table. Aleister Black was able to turn it around. He did a Meteora through the table off the apron. And then backstage, Aleister Black continued the attack and took Damian Priest out. You had Lash Legend and Nia Jax pick up the victory over the Kabuki Warriors. I think Lash did a good job at keeping Kairi Sane down, but she finally got a tag to Asuka when Nia Jax was in the ring. But the Kabuki Warriors didn't really have much control in the match. Kairi did take both of them out with the insane elbow to the outside. And Asuka, I think, probably had way more offense than Kairi did. But really, most of the match was controlled Nia Jax and Lash Legend. Nia Jax eventually hit the Annihilator on Kairi Sane, got the victory there. And then Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair ran down to brawl with Nia Jax and Lash Legend. I think it was a good big boot from Charlotte to Lash Legend. But then at the last second before a twisted Bliss, Lash Legend made the save. And Charlotte and Alexa Bliss basically said they're coming for the titles. You had a sit down at Drew McIntyre's house with Nick Aldis. And Nick said that given what Drew McIntyre did at Saturday night's main event, he doesn't even know why he came to have that meeting. And it should have been in the office, not at Drew McIntyre's house, but he's there. Cody wants him reinstated. And he said the stipulations, Drew gets a title shot one-on-one, but he has to publicly apologize to Dan Angler. And he's also fined. And Drew McIntyre said no, because it's what they want and not what he wants. He brought up the unsafe working environment, and he said if he comes back, he wants a title shot. He wants to pick the stipulation. And if Cody lays a finger on him before that match, he's stripped of the title. And Nick Aldis agreed, and then Drew McIntyre gets a notification on his cell phone. Cody Rhodes showed up, and he attacked Drew McIntyre at his own house. Obviously, there's police there. Police got involved. And then later on, Nick Aldis gave an interview, and Miz interrupted because he wants a match with he who shall not be named, that being Joe Hendry. And then R-Truth showed up and did the Joe Hendry gimmick and said, "I believe in Joe Pesci," which I thought was really funny. That also ties into the Christmas season, given that Joe Pesci is part of probably two of the biggest Christmas movies, that being Home Alone 2. But next week on SmackDown, we're going to be seeing The Miz versus Joe Hendry, so I think that's awesome. Later on, Cody Rhodes went to the ring, and he brought up Drew McIntyre, talking about him saying that it's an unsafe working environment, and he kind of like made fun of Drew McIntyre for it, even though there's stuff to back up Drew McIntyre's case there. And then Nick Aldis showed up, and he said that when Cody showed up to Drew's house and did what he did, he kind of just proves Drew's point. And he made Nick Aldis look like a liar, and Cody's not above the law. And then he did tell Cody about the possibility of getting stripped of the title. Cody was rude to Nick Aldis. And he said that he works for the people, not the other way, or he works for the people and Nick Aldis works for him. Bit rude. You had Julia pick up the victory over Alba Fire. I think it was nice to see Alba Fire wrestle, and it wasn't a one-sided match, but Julia controlled most of this match. I feel like you had to have known Alba Fire wasn't going to get this victory. Julia ends up holding on to Alba Fire before dropping her for the finish of the match. I guess maybe just to drill it into Chelsea Green. You had Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov pick up the victory over DIY. Fraxium spoke with Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes beforehand, just to say we should have this match, and we do, if anything happens, we'll be out there kind of sort of deal. This was a solid tag team match. I think Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov worked really well together. Extremely well. I like that super kick spot where Carmelo Hayes went to kick Ciampa off the apron. Ciampa holds on to Carmelo Hayes, and then it led to Johnny Gargano hitting him with a kick instead. Dragunov and Gargano fought outside the ring. Candice LeRae at one point pulled Carmelo Hayes off a springboard. And DIY was able to have a little bit of an advantage there. They hit the super kick and fairy tale ending combo. Carmelo Hayes kicked out. They went for meat in the middle, and Dragunov ends up taking Gargano out. Carmelo hit the first 48 on Ciampa, and then Dragunov hit the H-bomb on Ciampa, only to have Carmelo Hayes get tagged back in, hit nothing but net, and get the victory there. I thought for sure it was going to be Dragunov getting the victory, but awesome to see Carmelo Hayes with that win. Backstage, Jade Cargill was interviewed, and Mia Yim ended up attacking her with the kendo stick. B-Fab was the one, agents also showed up to pull Mia Yim away, but B-Fab mainly pulled Mia Yim away. I don't know if that's going to lead to her turning, though. I said that the other week. It kind of seemed like maybe we'll see B-Fab join up with Jade Cargill instead. We'll have to see. Main event of SmackDown saw the Wyatt Six pick up the victory over... the Wyatt Six versus Tonga Loa and JC Mateo ended in no contest. The titles were on the line. Mateo catching Dexter Lumis from that dive off the apron and then slamming him into the ring post I thought was dope. The stalling Saito suplex from Joe Gacy to JC Mateo I thought was nice. Tala Tonga, though, ends up getting involved. He took out Joe Gacy, then Rowan got involved, Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga jumped him. Tonga Loa joined in that brawl, and then Uncle Howdy joined in. They all brawled. Eric Rowan even powerbombed Nikki Cross out of the ring onto Tala Tonga. And Solo hits the Samoan spike on Eric Rowan. Uncle Howdy almost hit that Sister Abigail on Solo, but it was broken up, and that brawl that's how SmackDown ended, with a giant brawl. So that is SmackDown. Going to take a quick little break, and I'll be right back here on Markin Out.
This is Austin Theory, and you're listening to Markin Out.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Markin Out, episode 776. Moving back to AEW Collision from last week, it kicked off with Swerve picking up the victory over Josh Alexander. The crowd, I think, was great for this show in Wales, by the way. I liked Swerve going for the house call pretty early on in the match, almost right away. That was blocked. I liked the suplex off the apron onto the commentary table from Josh Alexander. The impact was on Swerve's legs, so that was applied to the match. It opened for Josh Alexander to work on Swerve's legs for the match. Swerve eventually did hit the house call. I don't think he should have been able to do that, given how much that Josh Alexander worked on the legs of Swerve. And then he hit the big pressure gimmick to get the victory. Afterwards, he unfortunately said that he's coming for the AEW Championship, and it gets set up as a triple threat, which I think would have been absolute trash. But on AEW Dynamite, during the contract signing between Samoa Joe, Hangman, and Swerve, MJF returned. And he cashed in his shot, so it's a fatal four-way. I thought MJF's promo, everyone's like, oh, it's the greatest thing ever. I think some of the things that he mentioned in there, there was absolutely no need for that whatsoever. I just hope Samoa Joe retains. I feel like with MJF returning, how could you not have it be MJF walking out as champion? But I hope Samoa Joe retains. Back on Collision, Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander picked up the victory over the Sisters of Sin. Sisters of Sin desperately need victories. I don't think this match should have happened. Tekla came out instead of the Sisters of Sin, which distracted them. Sisters of Sin got to attack them from behind. Didn't last long. Jamie Hayter took over. I hated that Code Blue spot. Sky Blue was late to the spot. I hate that even more. The more I see Sky Blue and Julia Hart, the more I see how much work they need to get done. The match somehow sets up Jamie Hayter versus Chris Statlander for the title. Somehow. On this week's Collision, Jamie Hayter picked up the victory over Isla Dawn. Since her last title shot 3 months ago, her only singles matches have been against the Sisters of Sin, Sky Blue, Julia Hart, Tekla, as well as Anna Jay. How does beating Isla Dawn help solidify being worthy of a title match? That makes no sense to me at all. And then the Sisters of Sin attacked them both afterwards. Tekla joined in. Chris Statlander made the save. Jamie Hayter accidentally hit her with Haterade. She didn't care. She held up the title. Maybe it's a sign of a heel turn. I don't know if that will be. But I still don't understand what she did to deserve a title shot. You had Claudio versus Takeshita end in a time limit draw to gain a point for each of them. This was a good match. I like that driver spot from Takeshita. Even with it being sloppy at the start, this match, I think they recovered. I think it was good. He then hit a German suplex, a hidden blade. Claudio kicked out. Takeshita went for that knee, and Claudio turned it into a pop-up uppercut. I think when that pin wasn't it, I began to think it was going to go to the time limit draw. He hit the knee again, Claudio kicked out, and then with 30 seconds left, he went for Raging Fire, and Claudio turned it into a neutralizer. Takeshita kicked out of that. They kept fighting after the match. I think it was, for the most part, I think this was a well-done match. Speedball picked up the victory over Kevin Knight to gain points. Some of this was sloppy, but commentary, I think, was able to cover it at times by saying that they tried to block. They were able to reverse a bunch of stuff, which ties into them being a tag team and knowing one another. But Speedball eventually hit the Rubik's Cube, got the victory there. Main event saw Mark Briscoe pick up the victory over Daniel Garcia to retain. Couldn't have cared less about this match. No offense to Mark Briscoe. Daniel Garcia is beyond boring, and I can't get into his matches. Especially when Marina Shafir is getting involved. The referee kicked her from ringside. Wheeler Yuta, of course, Wheeler Yuta shows up. Low blows Mark Briscoe. Daniel Garcia hits the pile driver, and I swear to God, man, I thought that was about to be it, so thank God Mark Briscoe is able to kick out and eventually hits the J-Driller, gets the victory there. You have AEW Dynamite taking place in the UK. Jon Moxley picked up the victory over Roderick Strong to gain a point, or to gain points, several points. This went into the crowd, and I immediately checked out. It went on for like 20 minutes. I couldn't care less. The Elite picked up the victory over the Don Callis family in a $1 million six-man tag. I couldn't care less about the Elite. Matt Jackson, though, honestly, I think he killed it in this match. The officiating was pure garbage. And of course, it was Hechicero taking the pin. I think that was beyond obvious before the bell even rang. Then the Don Callis family took the Elite out afterwards. They sort of got into one of those, like, anything you can do, I can do better situations between Okada and Takeshita, because it's the slowest build ever possible to a match or a feud between the two of them. They started pushing one another up until the moment where Kenny Omega got into the ring with an actual broom to sweep them out of the ring. On Collision, we had the Babes of Wrath. Willow said that the last time they were in that building, they faced one another, and she hit Harley Cameron as hard as she could. Harley kept getting up, and that's what this year has been for Harley Cameron. Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa came out. I think it was an absolute garbage promo from Toni Storm. Like I keep saying, I'm beyond over this character. And then Mercedes came out, trash talked them. Tony challenged her to come to the ring. She said no. Harley Cameron brought up that there's 4 of them, only one of her. And she's like, oh, I'll bring a team. This is why I had zero faith in AEW introducing women's tag team titles. You have a singles champion come out, be challenged by the team who lost the tag team title tournament, and then the new champions end up teaming with them instead of focusing on making the titles mean something. Instantly kills momentum for the titles. And then you fast forward to Dynamite. Mercedes, Athena, Megan Bayne, Marina Shafir pick up the victory of the Babes of Wrath, of course. Toni Storm, Mina Shirakawa. Of course, the champions in their first match after they win the titles, they lose. They get pinned. Great job establishing those titles. And this match was just so much chaos. Later on, Athena said that she thinks that they could do the champions versus Athena and Mercedes at World's End. That actually gets made. I think these titles, they need more matches before going into another title match. How do you establish that? Oh, let's go from title match to title match. These are brand new titles. This match was not it. That was trash. You had Pac pick up the victory over Kyle Fletcher to gain points. Pretty even match. I was really hoping to see Pac win. And when he had the Brutalizer locked in, I was like, well, that's probably about to be it. And then when he didn't win, I was like, well, I guess Kyle Fletcher's going to get this victory. Fletcher, that was an awful spot. Fletcher passed out. And then the referee's like shaking his head. When somebody passes out, you shake their head. And then the referee noticed that Kyle Fletcher's foot was on the rope, Kyle Fletcher somehow hulked up. Just passed out, but he hulks up. Pac was able to go on, hit the Black Arrow, and get the victory. I was pleasantly surprised with that. So I'm happy that Pac won. You had Bandito and Ricochet win the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal. Or whatever, the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal. You had Ace Austin, Not the Acclaimed, The Demand, Brody King, Mark Davis, Josh Alexander, Shelton Benjamin, Luchasaurus, all in the match. In a perfect world, it would have been Shelton Benjamin and Josh Alexander, with Shelton Benjamin getting the title shot. But this was predictable. Nobody in that match. I don't even think Bandito and Ricochet are on that level. Nobody's on that, like, I could see them facing the AEW champion. There's a sliver of Ricochet. There's a sliver of Bandito. Both of the winners already have championships. Right up AEW's alley. And also having people fight outside of the ring during the Battle Royal, I just think is so goofy. You had Orange Cassidy pick up the victory over Mascara Dorada to gain points. This was boring. Not up to the standards I expect from a match with Mascara Dorada in it. This was disappointing. And then the main event, speaking of disappointing, FTR picked up the victory over the Bang Bang Gang to retain. I don't know how this was the main event. Because the titles were on the line, that's the only reason I could fathom it. They took way too long setting this match up. Basically doing the same segment multiple weeks in a row. And then this match, I don't think delivered or lived up to what it could have. Especially not for a main event. I hated that Juice Robinson got the pin. The referee completely turned away from the foot and the rope. But Dax's foot was on the rope. They literally just did a foot on the rope spot earlier with Kyle Fletcher. The ref counts 1, 2, 3, and then magically turns around to see the feet. Fletcher's passed out. The referee magically sees the foot. You already officiated the 3. You already see that he's passed out. How do you go back in time or change the outcome of that? You don't know when the foot was on the rope. You saw he was passed out. You saw his shoulders were down for a 3 count. But no, I turn around, there's the foot. Awful main event. Awful segment with Kyle Fletcher, that submission spot also. That's AEW Dynamite. Hey, and I shouldn't say awful main event. It just wasn't main event worthy. But, like I was saying, that's AEW Dynamite. Hey, Brandon, got any shout-outs?
I'm Louis Anderson, and survey says Brandon shout-outs.
Taylor Swift, The End of an Era, gets the first shout-out. It's a 6-part docuseries on Disney Plus about the behind-the-scenes from the Eras tour. It was all supposed to be out by the 26th. They moved it up, which is quite suspicious. I don't know if something else is coming now the 26th. That's what happens with Swift fans.
You have Stranger Things coming out around there.
Yeah, but specifically Taylor Swift. For some reason, people think she might be dropping vault tracks soon. So we'll see. But it's crazy to see everything that went into that Eras tour. It still really makes me pissed off at Ticketmaster. It makes me really disappointed. But I thought it was a good behind-the-scenes documentary about the tour. I think it was really funny that the weekend of John Cena's retirement, she puts out a documentary called The End of an Era, because truly, John Cena's retirement is the end of an era.
Yeah.
They also released the final concert on Disney Plus, which I think is cool. And also Disney at Hollywood Studios. People were rope dropping. They had outfits from the Eras tour. Longest line. Goodbye, Space Mountain.
Yeah. See you later.
They need to put in a Taylor Swift exhibit. I always said that the Galactic Star Cruiser, whatever, the Star Wars hotel, once that flopped, you turn that into a Taylor Swift hotel, never, ever once. I guarantee you, never once would you have a problem selling it out.
That would be interesting.
But I think it's an office building now. And, of course, they should have an attraction. People are... there's, like, the internet theme park community, too. Like, just like the IWC.
How dare they suggest Taylor Swift have an exhibit?
Or not an exhibit, a ride or an attraction.
I mean, I wouldn't really... what's the difference with Aerosmith having their ride?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not a fan of...
They're gone now, by the way, but...
Huh?
Aerosmith is gone now. The ride is
Which
still
I'm happy about, because I never understood why Aerosmith for so long. It was just Aerosmith. But, hey, there's no reason why you couldn't do that to
Did you ever
Taylor
go on
Swift.
Rock and Roller Coaster?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I just did the pre-show.
Not last time I was there. Last time I was there, it was closed down.
My next shout-out goes to Roofman, which is now streaming on Paramount+. It's based on a real-life robber, which I sort of remember hearing about him, and it's still, like, really crazy that it's a true story.
Really?
But, yeah. But Channing Tatum stars in it, Kirsten Dunst, Lakeith Stanfield's in it, Juno Temple, Peter Dinklage. Takes everything in me not to curse him whenever I see him.
Yeah.
Uzo Aduba is in it. Jimmy O Yang is in it. And then at the end of the film, they showed footage of the real people during the credits. And which, by the way, the woman that they got, the officer that was the head sergeant or whatever who led the hunt, Molly Price. She was on Third Watch, a bunch of other shows. It's like spot on to what the actual person looked like. I think that might have been like the best, most realistic looking casting. But it makes you empathize with the guy, and they have people who knew him all saying how nice he was and how they never suspected anything. And even the people who were involved with the actual robberies were like, oh, he was like really nice to all of us. Mm-hmm. It just makes you feel bad for the guy. He's in prison still, so.
I have to see it still.
My next shout out goes to Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery, which is the third movie in the film series. It's out on Netflix.
Daniel Craig. You're giving this a shout out. I thought that you kind of
No. So, first of all, Daniel Craig, he reprises his role as the detective, and it takes place in a church. There's a bunch of secrets that turn into this big mystery. You have Josh O'Connor, Glenn Close, Josh Brolin, Mila Kunis, Jeremy Renner, Kerry Washington, Thomas Hayden Church, so many more actors. This movie took so long to get going. There's just so much setup to it. And I feel like every time I paused it, there was like an hour and a half left. But
that's annoying.
But, I mean, obviously not. It just felt like time was standing still. But it took way longer than I feel like it needed to. But there was, like I said, there was a lot to set up there. But once they got everything out, once it picked up, I thought I really enjoyed it. I think in order of how much I liked each film, I think it's 1, 2, 3. And 2 has a major leg up because Batista was in it. But Glenn Close was really good in this movie. So I would 100... You don't have to... I mean, technically, I guess... I mean, you don't even have to know that Daniel Craig was a detective. Basically. Like, you don't have to see 1. You don't have to see 2. I would recommend it just so you get, like, the feel of everything.
Yeah, I still haven't seen any of them, but I started the third one, but then I couldn't get into it, so then I swapped off of it. Now I'm watching City Hunter. I forgot where that's out of.
Which is what?
It's about a detective. It's kind of corny-ish at times, but it's fun.
My last shout out, Rob Reiner and his wife unfortunately died this week. The circumstances around everything is just like so gruesome and horrifying. But Rob was part of so many classic movies and TV shows as a director, producer, screenwriter, and actor. He was a link to that past generation of comedy because of his father being Carl Reiner. And it's really honestly hard to pick a favorite project that Rob Reiner was part of, because the list just goes on and on. Like, as an actor, All in the Family was like such an iconic show.
Yeah.
This is Spinal Tap. Dickie Roberts.
Yeah, for me, my favorite's definitely hands down Princess Bride.
Yeah, well, I think that's a huge one for pro wrestling fans because Andre the Giant was in it.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite movies when I was growing up, and even still, the ability to rewatch that and all of his other movies, Stand By Me.
When Harry Met Sally, I'll Have What She's Having.
Yeah.
Misery, A Few Good Men. It's like hit after hit after hit.
Yeah, very horrific. Every time that they release some more information about it, it's just horrific and saddening and awful. And just to hear about the details and stuff like that, it's just horrific and awful.
I would have liked to have met him and talked about pro wrestling with him, especially because he seemed like such a friendly and approachable person.
Yeah, was he a fan?
I'm almost certain, like, of the babyface Andre the Giant era, he was. I think.
Mm-hmm. I would believe it.
But from time to time, he would pop up on my TikTok feed, and like I don't want to call them paparazzi or whatever, but people interviewing him, like street interviews, and he would literally just stop and answer question after question after question. I think like every time someone stopped him, he would speak. He would be so friendly. He co-wrote the very first episode of Happy Days.
I didn't know that.
Jerry Seinfeld also said that Seinfeld wouldn't have made it on NBC had Rob Reiner not gone to bat for the show. His company was one of the companies that produced it. And like literally screamed at the network saying, you don't get it. Trust me, this is going to be a huge hit for you guys. Also, in regard to This Is Spinal Tap, that really popularized the mockumentary genre. So without that, who knows if we would have had movies and TV shows like Best in Show, Borat, Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Office, Modern Family, Abbott Elementary, Parks and Rec, Arrested Development. That list goes on and on. This is Spinal Tap 2 is streaming on HBO Max now, so I watched that. I would have watched it somewhat now, like, regardless, because they just released it. And I think it was really funny. I think it was a very quick watch. If you watch if you know This Is Spinal Tap, then it's like completely on brand as the sequel. And it's packed with cameos just like the first one. And I'm glad that Rob got to put this out. I think there's a third movie that they filmed that's on hold now.
But I mean, you even have him talking about the story about the 16-second fart from Andre the Giant on the set of Princess Bride, where he, like, hilarious. He talks about how everybody went to a standstill, and he, like, turned to Andre being like, "Are you okay, Andre?" And Andre, like, I feel like you and me and any pro wrestling fan could actually hear Andre respond to him saying, like, "I am now, boss."
Yeah.
Like I don't know why, but Andre, hearing him say boss and stuff like that, I don't know why I feel like I could hear him say it, and just it's just such a
beyond unfortunate situation that happened. Our condolences go out to his family, his friends, all the fans around the world. Go watch his movies, his TV shows this weekend. Celebrate Rob Reiner.
Yeah, and don't be a jerk. You know, people going out there and on their Twitter devices and doing their thing. Don't be a jerk. Yeah. You know, it's such a sad, sad loss.
So those are my shout outs. Now it's time for our
Mark Out Moment of the Week.
That is right, our Mark Out Moment of the Week. Honestly, I think just seeing all the legends and superstars who were there for John Cena.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Just that, the matchup, the retirement, the everything leading up to that night, and everything that was happening throughout that night. I mean, Mark Out Moment, John Cena.
Also, in the video that they played after the match, they used the clip of John Cena at WrestleMania 20 that I was in.
There you go.
So, very like I said, when they first used it, I said that even though I didn't make it to see John Cena wrestle one more time on this tour, I at least in some part got to be part of the final moment via archival footage. It's the only way I can cope.
Mm-hmm.
So, cheers to John Cena. Thanks for everything.
Thank you, Cena. Definitely my mark out moment.
That is episode 776. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can follow us on Twitter at Markin Out, at BTTG161 on all platforms. Chris Sweeney Dog, CM Sweeney85, David PTDPT on all platforms. Facebook.com/Markin Out. YouTube and Instagram are Markin Out 11. ProWrestlingTees.com/Markin Out. At Markin Out on TikTok. You can rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, MarkinOut.com, and we wish you the
best
of luck in your future endeavors. Have a fantastic week. And a Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Evening.
Or morning.
Day.
Or afternoon.
Midday.
I don't know.
Something like
that. Whenever you listen to the show.